Okay, we are beginning Chapter 13 of Beyond Exile, the three names of Lenin. In the last chapter, Frank and Tony end up at a party in Edwin's mansion. Tony breaks off with this girl, and Frank wanders around and finds his old friend Illich, his old communist friend, Venezuelan friend from Moscow. They get reacquainted. It appears that it is the next day, and the two are walking around London and stumble into the quaint Green Park pub. We can go east, which would put us back into London. But in the Green Park pub, you see there's an icon for Illich speaking monologue. So he's gonna get off what's on his chest here. Look at that icon. From inside our frame of reference, we can see the news of the world as a complex contest between agencies. Nothing is what it appears to be, and the message is always the same. If you don't obey the code in the text, it will kill you. Consider Bobby Fischer. The world press made him a hero for defeating Spassky at Reykjavik. The self-taught Jewish grandmaster defeats the atheist Russian chess machine to become world champion. But the map's not the territory. We know Fischer's a KGB asset, a rabid anti-Zionist, easy manipulated. Spassky's a sophisticated Jew, Western sympathizer, impossible to control. We know Moscow ordered Spassky to throw the match. Ordered Fischer to make prosperous demands for his title defense with Karpov, so the ambitious young party apparatus can become a new world champion without playing a game. Spassky's retired from international chess, allowed to marry in Paris. Fischer's subtracted from the news of the world, hidden in a Pasadena Christian cult, and eventually allowed to wander South America, Asia, and Central Europe, like a bearded rat, like a fake wandering Jew. Can you see the territory folding the map? And now we are Illich. After speaking all that, he looks around, he sees Frank, and then Katie, waitress. Let's look at Frank first. There's no interaction. He looks at the waitress. Another pint of Guinness, asked Illich, gesturing to a chubby barmaid in the Green Park pub. She presents a pint of Guinness. Brilliant. You take the Guinness. The more you insist on your resignation, the more they think you're a sleeper, Frank. They assume you're programmed for something big. He looks at Frank again. Here we go. A toast to the news behind the news. They clank and drink. So, there's no interaction because we have to clank and drink. So let's take our Guinness as Illich and toast with Frank. And then we have Illich is going to speak another long monologue. So we look at Illich speaking. I guess you know I've been working for George Habash and Wadi Haddad. I shot the Zionist Joseph Seif a few miles from here and bombed 2 Jewish banks. Nothing important yet. Eventually I'll have my own network, but now I'm working with a popular front. The Palestinians are exiles in their own land, stripped of culture and authority, denied both future and past. The Russian model is a lie. It's not about the workers, it's about the people. Castro knows the Russian nation-state is identical to the American nation-state. They're both controlled by London bank cartels, and they both gave Israel the bomb. That's why Castro promotes a barter economy and free social programs for the people. The people are the way. Do you know why they dismissed me from Patrice Lumumba? For attending an Arab demonstration. Why did they kick you out of Berkeley? And now we are Frank, hearing all this in the pub. And we can look at Illich, who's just asked us this question. Okay, speak to Illich. Why did they kick you out of Berkeley? And we have 3 options to use. They broke up the GTU. I left on my own. They didn't, it was my father. Let's say I left on my own. Nope. Let's try, they didn't, it was my father. They didn't, it was my father. And then, let's look at Illich again.
Yes, of course. Sometimes I forgot we're not the same voice. Your father designed the guidance circuits for surface-to-air and air-to-air missiles during the Vietnam War. He played golf, maintained the gardens, and took the family to the mountains every weekend in a brown Dodge station wagon. He never explained his decisions. His mood was law. He erupted without warning. I wish you were mine. How easy to rebel against the dogma and domestic fascism of the Yankee middle class. A fist fight. How literary. And you never went back? Extraordinary. You probably saw him beating your mother, or suspected it. You should be the one working for the Popular Front, not me. My father was a rich lawyer in Caracas, who overcame my theological tendencies with a proper leftist education in Cuba. He had a mistress for each season of the day and Casanova's autograph in a safe. After Elba divorced him and took me away, he continued to support my Marxist training in Moscow and encouraged my interest in languages. He still writes to me twice a month and always includes a substantial check. So how can I kill such a father? How could it even come to mind? In the end, you denied your father and your God in one move. You just walked away. How fortunate, how free. My father named his sons with 3 names of Lenin. That was the limit of his lunacy. But your father thought genetic insanity could strike him down at any moment, designing circuits, weeding in the yard, shopping at Kmart. When he saw you, the Glendiver curse clouded everything. Why weren't you so arrogant, so independent, so indifferent to middle-class rewards? Why did you resist his engineering? How could you evade the conditioning of pleasure and pain, of presence and absence? Your father was perfect, made your life political, mystical, autobiographical. And Illich, now we are Illich after saying all that, and we're looking at Frank. Well, I'm going to Brussels, and you're off to Milan. So allow me to propose a small wager. He looks at Frank. And Frank says to Illich, "Go ahead, I'm listening." A trip to Moscow? A bottle of good Russian vodka? A tryst with Melinda. This is the wager. So, let's give him the girl, tryst with Melinda. Nope. Go ahead, I'm listening. How about the bottle of good Russian vodka? And that's what it is. A bottle of good Russian vodka for the first Fisher sighting. Just a bottle? And then make that several bottles, and a large tin of beluga caviar, and a box of Fidel's finest Cubans. Let's try that one. Nope. Let's start over. To Illich. Go ahead, I'm listening. Let's try a bottle of good Russian vodka. A bottle of good Russian vodka for the first Fisher sighting. And let's try out a large tin of beluga caviar. And a large tin of beluga caviar for the first terrorist star. To Illich. Why do you want to do this? It's for your own good, Frank. The world's too small a stage. Be seeing you. Well, here's our first inside joke. Be seeing you is a tagline from The Prisoner, which is another story, so it's not that one. So it's for your own good, Frank, or the world's too small a stage. Let's try that one. I say the world's too small a stage for both of us, and too large for one of us. We meet, and then we meet again. So, that's the wager. A bottle of good Russian vodka for the first Fisher sighting, and a large tin of beluga caviar for the first terrorist star. And now we are Frank, looking at our friend, Illich. "You're on," says Frank, with the odd and certain sensation that his memories were being scrambled to a slightly different frequency. He looks at Illich again. And nothing happens. Let's use the toast again like we did before. Take the Guinness and give it to Illich. "And one last thing," says Illich, as they touch mugs to seal the bet. "George gave me a new name. Finally something Spanish. I'm Carlos now." So, Illich, one of the 3 names of Lenin, given by his father, is taking a new alias. And this is the notion of Carlos. Carlos the Jackal. He leaves Frank leaves the pub and Illich is left. We are Frank. Illich is gone. Frank goes back to Tony's place. Tony's gone. Well, there's the taxi driver, Graham again. And where to now, mate? Heathrow Airport, University of Oxford, Scotland Yard. Let's try Scotland Yard. Nothing. Oxford? Nothing. Alright, let's go back to the airport. And in London Airport, ticketing. Where to, sir? New York, Brussels, Milan. Well, Illich is going to Brussels. And he says, we're going to Milan. Frank's going to Milan. Let's just, let's just click on these options to, okay. So it's not going to happen, is it? No. So it is Milan. Let's click on this one. And when we do that, we're on the plane. And we're moving. Flying to Milan. Scene 108. Milano Malpensa Airport. And that will start a new chapter, which is always listed in green here. Letizia. So this ends chapter 13 of Beyond Exile. Thank you for watching this segment, and we'll see you with the next episode in Milan, Italy.